Hey guys, sorry about all this stuff. I tried to post. I was posting some of the stuff, but it never worked. I tried posting the stuff multiple times, and then it never worked. So then I ultimately gave up trying to publish the episodes for Revolution predictions. So I am very sorry about that for TPW Talking Pro Wrestling. But I managed to figure it out, so we're all good. But it's time for Revolution results. The 0 Hour show had a trios matchup. We saw Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers take on Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix. And they took on Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes, Josh Woods and Tony Nese. And the announcers of this matchup were Tony Schiavone and Excalibur and Taz. The matchup ultimately ended up being a win by Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers. JR joined the broadcast team for the actual pay-per-view, which then we saw Absolute Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho open the show, which the JAS were banned from ringside. And although Sammy Guevara did show up to go to ringside, Action Andretti came out to stop Sammy Guevara, which Jericho was trying to hit, Jericho cracked Ricky with the baseball bat named Floyd. Jericho then tried for the Judas effect, but Ricky Starks blocked it, and Starks nailed Jericho with the Rochambeau and pinned the Ocho, which was probably a very big deal for Ricky Starks. Then we saw the last burial matchup between Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Christian Cage. This matchup was a pretty good matchup. I'd say they were all pretty good matchups, but we saw Jack Perry get the victory there. It was pretty obvious from the start. This feud might now be over, so whatever. The AEW Trios title matchup was here now too, excuse me. The House of Black took on the Elite, and the House of Black, they grabbed the AEW World Trios Championships. And it was really nice to see that happened. I really do enjoy the House of Black. Let's hope that they keep the Trios titles for a while, and that they're not losing it to, like, some other trio on the next episode of Dynamite or something like that. I know that's not going to happen, but I am being a little dramatic, but at the same time, I'm not really. So, yeah. Then we saw the AEW Women's World Championship matchup, the triple threat with Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho versus Saraya. And in that matchup, we saw Jamie Hayter retain, but Ruby Soho also joined Saraya and Toni Storm, which ultimately turned Ruby heel. And then we saw a Texas death matchup between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. Hangman came out with new music, which I thought was kind of cool to hear. It's still Western music, but it was not his normal Ghost Town Triumph music. So that was pretty cool. The whole death match was absolutely insane. Hangman Page managed to make John tap out, which I thought was incredible. The death match, in my opinion, stole the show. I mean, the main event, don't get me wrong, was one of the greatest matches in all of All Elite Wrestling, but the death match was really good too, and I believe that was a really good death match. I thought AEW wouldn't do well with this death matchup. I thought they would tone it down a lot. They didn't really tone it down that much. They made a death match look like a death match. It was great. It was nice, and they really did a good job with that matchup. And then we had the TNT Championship on the line, where we saw Wardlow try to take on Samoa Joe for the TNT title. Wardlow did win against Samoa Joe, and he'll be taking on Powerhouse Hobbs on Wednesday. And then we had the AEW World Tag Team title matchup, which was a fatal 4-way tag match between the Guns, the Acclaimed, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and Danhausen and Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. Give Orange Cassidy credit because he wrestled on Dynamite twice. He wrestled to defend his All-Atlantic title, and he put himself in the Tag Team Royale. So I gotta give Orange Cassidy credit for that. That must have not been easy to do. But this matchup was really good too. The Guns ultimately did retain. And then we saw FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler return to brawl with the Guns. Oh, that was a great moment. It's so great to see FTR back. It really is. And then it's now time for the main event, as we saw the AEW World Championship 60-minute Iron Man match. Danielson scored with a 20 minutes into the match. Danielson scored the first fall after the running knee hit. MJF struck Danielson with a low blow, which cost MJF one fall as he was disqualified. But then MJF scored 2 falls in rapid succession, so then the matchup was tied 2-2. MJF planted Bryan with a tombstone through the remnants of the timekeeper table, and MJF stuck Danielson with the heat seeker and pinned the challenger. So then it was 3-2. Danielson locked MJF into a submission hold. MJF tapped out. It was tied back up 3-3. And that was it. The matchup was announced a draw. Tony Schiavone received communication from Tony Khan over the headset, which then Justin Roberts announced that the matchup would not be over in a draw, and that it would now be sudden death. So whoever wins the next fall wins the entire match, which MJF shoved the ref and Danielson tried to go for a fall, but he kicked out. Danielson waffled MJF with the running knee for a 2 count. Then there was a single leg crab submission to MJF. MJF grabbed the bottom rope and then tapped, so Danielson didn't see MJF grab the rope, only hearing the tap. MJF cracked Danielson with an oxygen tank, unknown to the ref. MJF put Danielson in the label lock, and Danielson finally tapped out to give MJF the victory. Holy crap, was this matchup good, and it was a great opportunity for MJF. A lot of people really don't give MJF enough credit. He's just that good. Or you could say he's a generational talent. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for listening, and this is TPW Talking Pro Wrestling, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Good night, everyone.